Hi guys, welcome to my channel and to my journey in beauty, where every video is an adventure in makeup, beauty, and YouTube, and I'm inviting you to come along with me. Today's adventure is my very first update for the Throwing Shade Challenge by the Pantastic Ladies. But the premise of this is to draw 3 eyeshadow palettes each month. The first week you use the first palette, the second week you use the second palette, the third week you use the third palette, and the fourth week you use all 3 of the palettes together to create at least one look each week. So last month I did draw the Persona Identity palette, the Milani Most Loved Naturals palette, and the Too Faced Clover palette, which is a favorite for sure. So let's go ahead and just dive in. The first week I used the Persona Identity palette. This is definitely in my top 3 palettes of all of my palettes. In this look I did challenge myself to use especially these 2 darker browns, Maverick and Fearless, that I really don't use very often. This shade right here is called Charming, and it's kind of a nice warm brown. And then Humble, I used for a matte brow bone highlight. And then this shade, this gold shade right here, is called Gold Digger, and I just don't tend to reach for gold shadows all that often, so I did go ahead and incorporate that as the main shade on the lid. And then we have this cream shimmer right here called Sassy, which I used on my inner corner. And I was really pleased with this look, as I actually was with all of these looks, and I really enjoyed the challenge of trying to create looks, especially with a few of my favorite palettes right here. I was challenging myself to create a look that I had never created before, and because I love the because I loved the Persona palette so much, I've done a lot of looks with it. So that was a little bit challenging, but I do think I met my goal there. So let's go into week 2 with the Clover palette. So this is my Too Faced Clover palette, and again I challenged myself to use some colors in here that I normally wouldn't pair together, or a look that I have never created before. And in this look I decided to go for it with this shade right here called Good Boy. It's a vibrant yellow, and for whatever reason, to me, it just doesn't jive with this palette, and I never reach for it. So I thought, how can I go ahead and use the yellow in the palette with whatever shades are left in the palette? And that's when I went to my good old color wheel. Okay, so here in my beauty space, and this is definitely a video that I plan to do in the future, but I'm just gonna touch on it briefly. Here in my beauty space, I do keep a color wheel. This is the one that I have for when I'm painting with acrylics on canvas. There's yellow on the color wheel, and when you're looking for a complementary color, it is whatever color is directly across from the shade that you're wanting in the color wheel. So the complementary color to yellow is purple, and so that was why I went with this shade called TF Mascot, along with the yellow shade called Good Boy. This first shade is called Chihuahua, and it's very close to my skin tone, so the swatches don't show up the greatest. But next we have Paw Prints, which is kind of a dusty purpley mauve shade. Then we have Retro, which is a darker purple shimmer, plummy brown shimmer, which I tend to shy away from in this palette because I'm usually reaching for color and not neutrals. And then here's TF Mascot, my favorite purple in my collection for sure. Good Boy is that matte yellow shade, and I love how these came together. Then on the brow bone, brow bone, I went in with this shimmery peach shade, very fair peach. called Cuteness Overload, and then this white, which is very, very hard to see, but it's called Puppy Eyes. So I hope you liked this look. I know I did, and I absolutely think I will recreate that look again in the future. All right, last but certainly not least is the Milani's Must Have Naturals. I think,
oh shit, I just broke it.
Anyways, I ended up using all of the shades in this palette, but I actually really was impressed with this formula, as well with this, you know, sort of cooler neutral eye that I came out with. I used this shade on the brow bone and this shade on the inner corner, and then I just kind of built my way up, you know, starting with this in the transition, a little of this in the crease transition, this in the outer V, and then this just a tiny bit in the outer V to deepen it up a little more. So yeah, I was really impressed with how this look went, and I could definitely see myself reaching for this palette in the future for a just quick get out the door, or take traveling with me for a quick get out the door look, what have you. So that's the great thing about this project so far, is that I'm learning new things about palettes, or learning about new palettes, which this one I had never used before this project. So let's go ahead and talk about the last look, which is the look that I have on today. So I used this shade in the crease for my look today, and I did use this shade up here in my inner corner. And then in the Persona palette, I used this warm, like weedy brown color called Charming, and then I blended it out with this shade called Audacious. And then I do have this shade right here, which is called Seductive, on the inner third of my lid. And going into the Clover palette, I used, what did I use? Oh, I used this one right here, which is called Wet Kisses, this rusty orange shimmer. And then on my brow bone, I went in with this light peachy shimmer called Cuteness Overload. Good grief, it's time to start wrapping this video up because I can't speak to save my life today. So the first month was super fun. Let's go ahead and draw the palettes for next month. I do have my wheel to side here. Spin. Okay, there we go. We're spinning, we're spinning. We got, the B8 Take Me Back to Brazil palette. That sounds good to me. Okay. See here. What does it say? Alomar Reina del Caribe Volume 1. So that's fun. Two very bright palettes so far. The Lorac Unzipped Ocean Sunset palette. Okay, so for week 1, we have the BH Take Me Back to Brazil palette. This is what she looks like, and I honestly haven't used it for a while, so I'm really excited to dive back into here. I think I might do like a blue-green look, because I really don't think I have created one like that out of this palette, but we'll find out. And then the second week, I will be using the Alomar Cosmetics Reina del Caribe palette volume 1, and this is what it looks like. I think this is gonna be fun once we get to the look where I combine all three of these. And then this palette from Lorac, the Unzipped Ocean Sunset palette, I have not used for a long time, so I'm gonna be really excited to use this in week 3. These shades are gorgeous. I just have so much eyeshadow, I don't get to give everybody a little love, so I will be giving this a little love in week 3, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this update on my throwing shade project. Stay tuned for next month, where I use these 3 palettes together, and I hope all of your makeup days are beautiful makeup days, and I will see you in my next video soon. Bye!